The sunlight streams through stained glass windows, casting colored shadows across polished wooden pews. 500 guests sit in hushed anticipation, their eyes fixed on the altar, where a man in a pristine white tuxedo stands beside his bride. Her lace gown cascades to the floor like a waterfall of ivory silk. This is supposed to be the happiest day of their lives. The officiant's voice rings out across the sanctuary, steady and ceremonial. If anyone objects to this union, speak now or forever hold your peace. Silence. That terrible, pregnant silence that always follows those words. And then a crash that echoes through the cathedral like thunder. The massive oak doors at the back of the church slam open with such force that several guests jump in their seats. Every head turns. A woman stands in the doorway, backlit by the afternoon sun. She's wearing a red dress that seems to blaze against the sacred white and gold of the sanctuary, and she's visibly pregnant. She doesn't walk down the aisle, she storms, each step deliberate, furious, unstoppable. "Stop this wedding!" Her voice cuts through the shocked silence like a blade. Gasps ripple through the congregation. Phones emerge from purses and pockets, fingers already recording. The pastor's face drains of all color. His bride turns slowly, confusion morphing into something darker. Horror, recognition of a moment that cannot be undone. The woman in red reaches the altar, and now everyone can see her face. Makeup smudged from tears, eyes blazing with righteous fury, hands trembling as she reaches into her purse. Photographs spill across the pristine white runner, intimate photos, the pastor's face clearly visible in each one, his arms wrapped around this woman, kissing her, holding her close. Photos that tell a story no one in this church wants to hear. "Tell her," the woman's voice cracks with emotion. "Tell her about us, about our child." The bride bends down, her hands shaking as she picks up one of the photographs. The engagement ring on her finger catches the light, sparkling with a brilliance that suddenly seems obscene. She stares at the image. Her hand flies to her mouth. The sanctuary erupts, shouting, accusations, confusion.
An elderly woman in the front pew, the pastor's mother, clutches her chest and faints into her husband's arms. The best man moves forward, trying to take control, trying to escort this woman out before she can say anything else. She shoves him away with surprising strength. "I have every right to be here." She pulls folded documents from her purse, holds them high for everyone to see. "We're married, legally married. Show them the certificate, you coward. Tell them how you abandoned me and your child." Peak chaos. The bride's father, a distinguished man in his 60s, rushes forward from the front row. His face has gone purple with rage. "Is this true?" The pastor's mouth opens, closes, opens again. No words come out. Just strangled sounds that might be the beginnings of denials or confessions or prayers. His carefully constructed facade is crumbling in real time, and 600 eyes are watching it happen. The woman continues, her voice rising above the chaos. 3 years of promises while he climbed his holy ladder, while he built his empire. I raised our son alone, working 2 jobs, wondering why the man who swore before God to love me had disappeared. The bride rips the veil from her head, the delicate fabric tearing in her hands. She pulls the engagement ring from her finger and throws it. It bounces off the pastor's chest and falls, rolling across the marble floor with a sound like judgment itself. "You monster!" Her palm connects with his face, the slap echoing through the microphone system that was meant to broadcast their vows. Finally, security arrives. 2 men in dark suits grab the woman in red by her arms, pulling her backward. She fights them, still screaming. "This isn't over. You hear me? You'll pay for abandoning us. You'll pay for everything." They drag her toward the exit. The guests are standing now, some trying to help, others just trying to see, phones still recording every moment of this catastrophe. The bride is sobbing. Her bridesmaids surround her, trying to shield her from the cameras, from the stares, from the reality of what's happening. And then, everything changes. A commotion near the exit, screaming, different from before, panicked, terrified. He has a gun! The sanctuary explodes into chaos, people diving under pews, running for side exits. The carefully orchestrated ceremony has become a nightmare. But how did a man of God end up here? How does a wedding day end with someone screaming about a gun? To understand this moment, this catastrophe, we need to go back 7 years to when everything began.
7 years earlier, in a different city, in a much smaller church. The congregation here numbers maybe 200 on a good Sunday. The building needs repairs, the carpet is worn, the paint is fading, but the people are faithful, and the assistant minister who stands at the pulpit has something special. At 32 years old, he's magnetic. When he speaks, people listen, not because he shouts or performs, but because he seems to genuinely care. He volunteers at homeless shelters every Tuesday, runs the youth program every Wednesday, shows up when families are in crisis, offering prayers and practical help in equal measure. The community loves him. He's going places, the elders whisper to each other. Mark my words, that young man is going to lead a megachurch someday. But right now, he lives in a studio apartment above a dry cleaner. His car is 15 years old and makes concerning noises. His suits are donated, altered to fit by a tailor in the congregation who feels sorry for him. He dreams big dreams, but his bank account tells a different story. His family doesn't help. Every phone call from his mother includes subtle digs. When are you going to do something with your life? Your cousin just made partner at his law firm. Your brother just bought a house. The pressure builds. The expectation that he should be more, have more, be worthy of respect.
If you want to uncover more chilling true crime stories and see justice exposed, subscribe to Crime Vaults as we bring light to the darkest true crime cases and never miss the secrets hidden in plain sight.
He tells himself he's content, that earthly success doesn't matter. But late at night, alone in his apartment, he scrolls through social media, looking at pastors his age who lead churches of thousands, who wear expensive suits and live in nice homes, who are respected and admired and successful. He wants that. God help him, he wants that so badly he can taste it. The regional church conference comes to town. Ministers from across 3 states gather for workshops, networking, worship services. He's there representing his small congregation, feeling somewhat out of place among the senior pastors with their tailored suits and confident handshakes. That's where he meets her. She's a choir director from a church 4 hours away, 28 years old, beautiful, talented, and full of the same passion for ministry that burns in him. They sit next to each other during a workshop on modern worship, start talking during the break, continue talking through lunch. That evening, they skip the scheduled dinner to walk through the city, talking about their dreams, their struggles, their faith. It's intoxicating. Someone who understands, someone who sees him, really sees him, not as a stepping stone or a disappointment, but as a person with value and worth. The conference lasts 3 days. By the end, they're inseparable. Long-distance relationships are hard, but they make it work. Secret weekend trips halfway between their cities, phone calls that last until 3 in the morning, text messages that ping constantly throughout the day. They're careful to keep it quiet. There's something thrilling about the secrecy, about having something that's just theirs. 6 months in, she tells him she's pregnant. His first reaction isn't joy. It's panic. Raw, immediate panic. This will ruin everything I've worked for. I'm an assistant minister having a baby out of wedlock. My career is over before it begins.
She's hurt by his reaction, but tries to understand. We love each other, she says reasonably. Let's get married. It doesn't have to be big. We can go to the courthouse, make it legal, then plan a real ceremony later. He feels trapped, cornered. But what choice does he have? If word gets out that he got someone pregnant, he's finished anyway. At least if they're married, he can control the narrative. They drive to a courthouse in a city where neither of them lives. Two strangers pulled off the street serve as witnesses. The ceremony takes 11 minutes. She cries. He signs the papers with a hand that won't stop shaking. "Once I get my own church," he promises her afterward, holding her hands, looking into her hopeful eyes. "Once I have a real position, we'll do this properly. Big wedding, all our families, everything you deserve. I promise." She believes him. Why wouldn't she? He's a man of God. Men of God keep their promises. The separation, 9:30 to 12. 3 weeks later, his phone rings. Unknown number. He almost doesn't answer. It's a church board member from a congregation 500 miles away, a prestigious church in a wealthy suburb. Their senior pastor is retiring, and they've been watching videos of his sermons online. They're impressed. Would he be interested in interviewing for the position? This is it, the opportunity he's been praying for, the door opening. The interview is in 2 weeks. He doesn't tell his wife immediately. He needs to think, to process, to figure out how this works. When he finally tells her, she's excited. "This is wonderful. When do we move?" He pauses. "Well, that's the thing. I've been talking to their search committee, and they're looking for someone specific, a traditional, family-oriented single man they can shape into their vision of leadership, someone without complications." Her face falls. Complications? Our baby is a complication? No, that's not what I meant. I need you to trust me. Let me get established first. Get the position, settle in, prove myself, then I'll bring you. We'll announce the marriage and the baby as this beautiful story of God's timing. She doesn't like it. Every instinct tells her this is wrong, but she's pregnant, scared, in love with a man who seems so certain of God's plan. She moves in with her sister. He promises to send money every month, to call every day, to make this work. The interview goes perfectly. He's everything they're looking for: charismatic, educated, unmarried, moldable. They offer him the position with a salary that makes his head spin, a house, a car, an expense account, everything he's dreamed of. He moves 500 miles away from his wife and unborn child. At first, he keeps his promises. He calls every night, sends money orders, makes plans for when he'll bring her to join him. "Just give me 6 months, 1 year at most." But the new church is demanding. Board meetings, sermon preparation, community events, media appearances. Days blur into weeks, weeks into months. The phone calls become less frequent. Every other day, twice a week, once a week. The money still comes, at least, until it doesn't. She calls him when she goes into labor. He doesn't answer. She calls again from the hospital, holding their newborn son. The call goes to voicemail. She tries to understand. He's busy. He's building something important. God's work takes sacrifice. But as months turn into a year, then into 2, she stops making excuses. She's been abandoned, plain and simple, used and discarded by a man who swore before God to love her. She works 2 jobs, waitressing during the day, cleaning offices at night, to support their son. On Sundays, she turns on the television and watches her husband preach to thousands, watches him wear designer suits and drive luxury cars and live in a mansion provided by his church. The man on the screen isn't the man she married, or maybe he is, and she just never really knew him at all.
2 years after taking the position, the pastor has become a phenomenon. The church has grown from 500 members to over 3,000. Sunday services are packed. They've had to add 2 additional worship times to accommodate everyone. The parking lot is full of luxury cars. The offering plates overflow. He's launched a television ministry. His sermons air on 3 networks every Sunday morning. His social media following has exploded. 200,000 followers on Instagram, 500,000 on TikTok, where young people share clips of his most inspiring moments. His first book, Purpose-Driven Success: Finding God's Plan for Your Life, hits bestseller lists. Speaking invitations pour in. He addresses conferences, corporate events, even political fundraisers. His fee for a single speaking engagement could support a family for 6 months. The media loves him. They call him the Prince of the Pulpit. Profile pieces describe his humble beginnings, his dedication to service, his unwavering faith. Women's magazines name him the city's most eligible bachelor. There's speculation about when he'll settle down, who the lucky woman might be. He lives in a 6-bedroom mansion provided by the church, drives a Mercedes, wears suits that cost more than some people's monthly rent. He tells himself he's earned this, that he's worked hard, that God has blessed him for his faithfulness. Late at night, when he can't sleep, he thinks about his son. The boy is 3 years old now, walking, talking, asking questions. He wonders if the child looks like him, if he has his eyes or his mother's smile. Then he pushes those thoughts away. That part of his life is over. It has to be. He's built something too important to risk.
Meanwhile, 400 miles away, his wife watches him on television every Sunday. Their son sits beside her, pointing at the screen. She stopped telling the boy that the man on TV is his father. What's the point? A father is someone who's present, someone who cares. She's given up trying to call. His number has been changed, blocked. She's written letters to the church, but they're returned unopened. She tried showing up once, driving all night with their son sleeping in the back seat. Security escorted her off the property, dismissed her as a disturbed woman, probably mentally ill, certainly lying. She works her 2 jobs, survives, raises their son alone, and watches her husband's empire grow, built on the foundation of her abandonment. The Charity Gala is the social event of the season. Politicians, business leaders, society's elite gathering to raise money for children's hospitals. The pastor is invited as a keynote speaker. He's become the kind of person who gets invited to such things now. That's where he sees her. She's standing near the silent auction tables, examining a donated painting. Late 20s, classically beautiful, wearing a dress that probably costs more than most people's cars. She moves with the unconscious grace of someone who's never had to worry about money, never had to wonder if she belonged in rooms like this. He approaches, introduces himself. She knows who he is. Everyone does. Her smile is warm, genuine. They talk for a few minutes, then a few more. Before he knows it, an hour has passed. Her father, it turns out, is a state senator. Her mother chairs half the charity boards in the city. She herself has a graduate degree in social work, was a beauty pageant winner, volunteers with underprivileged youth. She's perfect, exactly the kind of woman who should be beside a man in his position. More importantly, marrying into her family would mean connections, political influence, access to wealth that could take his ministry to the next level. He could launch a national television network, build a Christian college, become one of the most influential pastors in the country. He pursues her with the same focused determination he's applied to building his church. Carefully orchestrated dates, always in public, always appropriate. Flowers delivered to her workplace, thoughtful gifts that show he's been listening, grand gestures that make her friends sigh with envy. She's charmed by his eloquence, his seeming dedication to God and service. He talks about his humble beginnings, how far he's come through faith and hard work. She admires that. She's never known anyone who's had to struggle, and there's something romantic about his story of rising from nothing. 6 months of courtship, every moment calculated, every conversation steering them toward the inevitable conclusion. He proposes during the televised Christmas service, gets down on one knee right there on stage in front of 3,000 people in the sanctuary and tens of thousands watching at home.
The ring is enormous, 3 months of his inflated salary, just as tradition dictates. She says yes, of course. How could she say anything else? The congregation erupts in applause. Social media explodes. Within hours, they're trending nationwide. City's most beloved pastor to wed. Entertainment news covers it. Christian media celebrates it. It's a fairy tale romance, and everyone loves a fairy tale. The engagement photo shoot appears in magazines. The wedding is scheduled for 9 months out, enough time to plan something truly spectacular. Her mother takes charge, booking the finest vendors, sparing no expense. This won't just be a wedding, it will be an event. He tells himself he deserves this, that his past is his past, that he's a different person now. The past resurfaces. His former wife sees the engagement announcement on Facebook. Someone from her old church has shared it with a comment, "Remember when he used to preach here? Look how far he's come." She stares at the photo for a long time, him in a designer suit, his fiancée beautiful and radiant beside him. The comments are full of congratulations, blessings, excitement about the upcoming wedding. Something breaks inside her. All these years she's told herself he was just scared, just overwhelmed, that someday he'd come back, make things right, be the father their son deserves. But he's not scared. He's not overwhelmed. He's moved on. He's living his best life while she struggles to put food on the table. She tries calling. The numbers she has no longer work. She tries the church, gets transferred between departments, finally ends up with someone in security who takes her information and promises someone will call back. No one does. She shows up at the church on a Sunday morning, dressed in her best clothes, holding their son's hand. Maybe if he sees them, maybe if he looks his child in the face. Security stops them in the parking lot. She explains who she is. They look at each other, uncomfortable, tell her to wait. 20 minutes pass. A different security officer appears, older, his face sympathetic but firm. "Ma'am, I don't know who you are or what your situation is, but you need to leave. The pastor has never mentioned having a wife or child, and making false claims like this is serious. If you continue to harass him, we'll have to involve law enforcement." She tries to argue, pulls out her marriage certificate. They barely glance at it. "Anyone can print something like that. Ma'am, please leave before this becomes a bigger problem." She leaves, humiliated, furious. Her son asks why they're leaving, asks why they didn't get to see Daddy. She doesn't have an answer. Back home, she uses the last of her savings to hire a lawyer, a tired woman with a cluttered office who specializes in family law. She lays out the situation, shows the marriage certificate, explains the abandonment. The lawyer examines the documents, pulling up records on her computer. "Well," she says finally, "the marriage was never annulled or dissolved. You're still legally married to him, which means if he goes through with this wedding," she pauses, "he'll be committing bigamy. That's a felony in this state." The words hang in the air. A felony, criminal charges, prison time. "You have options," the lawyer continues. "We can file for back child support. We can pursue criminal charges. We can contest any attempt at marriage. Or," she leans back in her chair, "you can confront him publicly, make him face what he's done in front of everyone who thinks he's such a saint." The abandoned wife sits in silence for a long moment. Then she says, quietly, but with absolute certainty, "When's the wedding?" The pastor's best man has served beside him for 3 years. They met when the pastor first arrived, and they've built this ministry together. The best man handles the day-to-day operations, while the pastor focuses on preaching and public image. They're a team, brothers in Christ and in purpose. Or so the best man thought, until the day he goes into the pastor's office looking for a file. The pastor is at a speaking engagement in another state. The office is empty. The best man has been in here 1,000 times, but today he notices a locked drawer in the desk. Unusual. They've never kept secrets from each other. He knows where the spare key is, tells himself he's just being thorough, making sure there's nothing that needs attention while the pastor is away. Inside the drawer, beneath some financial documents, he finds a manila envelope. Inside that, a marriage certificate, 4 years old.
names he's never heard mentioned, and stapled to it a photograph of the pastor with a woman, a happy couple, newlyweds. The best man sits down heavily. His hands are shaking. This can't be real. There must be an explanation. When the pastor returns 2 days later, the best man is waiting in the office. The marriage certificate sits on the desk between them. What is this? The pastor's face goes white. For a long moment, he doesn't speak. Then it all comes out. The rushed courthouse wedding, the pregnancy, the abandonment, the lies built upon lies until he couldn't find his way back to the truth. Does she know about the new wedding? I don't know. I haven't spoken to her in years. There's a child, you said. Your child? Yes. And you've just left them? Let them think you're dead or something? I send money sometimes. Sometimes? The best man is on his feet now. This is wrong. That woman, that child, they deserve better than this. You need to call off the wedding. Make this right. The pastor stands too, his voice taking on that commanding tone he uses from the pulpit. Think about what we've built here. Think about the thousands of people who depend on us, the families we've helped, the lives we've changed. If this comes out, it all ends. The church, the ministry, everything. But this is wrong. The world isn't black and white. Sometimes we have to make difficult choices for the greater good. He moves around the desk, puts a hand on the best man's shoulder. You're my right hand. I'm promoting you to executive pastor. Double your salary. When we expand to multiple locations, you'll run one of them. But I need you with me on this. I need you to help me manage this situation quietly. The best man feels sick. Everything he believed about this man, this ministry, is crumbling. But he also thinks about his own family, his wife, his kids, the mortgage they could barely afford before this job, the life they've built here. What do you want me to do? Find her. Offer her money, whatever she wants. Get her to sign divorce papers, non-disclosure agreements, whatever it takes. Make this go away. It's wrong. The best man knows it's wrong. But he nods anyway. Makes the deal with the devil he's been serving without realizing it. They don't know she's already made her own plans, that no amount of money will buy her silence now, that she's going to walk into that wedding and burn his carefully constructed world to the ground. The wedding is in 3 weeks.
The day arrives with perfect weather. Clear skies, gentle breeze, temperature in the mid-70s. Even God seems to be blessing this union, or so the guests will say later, marveling at the irony. The pastor wakes at 6 in the morning in a luxury hotel suite. The church has rented the entire floor for the wedding party. He should be excited, nervous, happy. Instead, he feels hollow, like he's watching himself in a movie, playing a role. His phone buzzes. A text from the best man. We need to talk. Now. They meet in a conference room on the 2nd floor. The best man looks like he hasn't slept. She's here, in the city. Someone from church saw her at a hotel last night. She was wearing a red dress. The pastor's heart stops. A red dress? Like she's planning to make a statement. Find her, stop her, whatever it takes, keep her away from that church. The best man nods, already on his phone, calling security, dispatching people to every hotel in a 5-mile radius. But she's not in any of them. She checked out early, disappeared into the city like a ghost. 5 miles away, the bride is in her suite, surrounded by bridesmaids, hairstylists, makeup artists. Her dress hangs near the window, a masterpiece of lace and silk that cost more than most people's cars. She's radiant, glowing with happiness, completely unaware that in a few hours her entire world will shatter. Her father visits, tears in his eyes as he looks at his little girl in her wedding dress. You look beautiful, sweetheart. I'm so proud of you. You've found a good man. By 8:30, the church is buzzing with activity. Florists arranging thousands of white roses, caterers setting up for the reception, television crews checking camera angles. The ceremony will be broadcast live for those who couldn't get invitations. 500 guests arrive.
Politicians, business leaders, celebrities, church members. The sanctuary fills with the gentle hum of expensive perfume and designer suits. Everyone wants to be here. This is the social event of the year. The pastor stands in a preparation room off the main sanctuary, his groomsmen around him, adjusting his white tuxedo. Someone makes a joke. Everyone laughs. The pastor doesn't hear any of it. His mind is elsewhere, counting down the minutes, wondering if she'll really go through with whatever she's planning. His phone buzzes again. The best man. We can't find her. I'm sorry. The ceremony begins. At 2 o'clock, the wedding march begins. The guests rise, turning to watch the bridal party process down the aisle. Bridesmaids in silver dresses, groomsmen in tuxedos matching the pastor's, the flower girl scattering white petals, the ring bearer carrying the cushion like he's bearing the weight of the world. And then the bride appears. She's a vision. The dress catches the light from the stained glass windows, making her seem almost ethereal. Her father walks beside her, beaming with pride. They move slowly down the aisle, savoring the moment, while 3 cameras capture every angle for the live broadcast. At the altar, the pastor watches her approach. She's beautiful. She's perfect. She could give him everything he's ever wanted: status, security, legitimacy. All he has to do is say 2 words, but his hands won't stop shaking. The bride reaches the altar. Her father kisses her cheek, places her hand in the pastor's hand, and steps back to join his wife in the front row. The officiant, an elderly minister who's known the bride's family for decades, begins.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today. The best man stands beside the pastor, his eyes constantly scanning the crowd, the doors, the balcony, looking for danger, for disruption, for the woman in red who's going to destroy everything. The ceremony continues. Readings from scripture about love and commitment, a solo performance by a famous Christian singer, vows written specially for the occasion, filled with promises about forever and faithfulness. The pastor speaks his vows like he's reading from a script. His voice doesn't waver. Years of preaching have taught him how to perform, how to make people believe. The bride's vows are genuine. She means every word, loves this man she thinks she knows. They reach the exchange of rings. The best man fumbles slightly as he hands them over. The rings slide onto fingers, the physical symbols of promises being made. The officiant smiles at the congregation. We've reached that moment in the ceremony where tradition asks if anyone knows of any reason why these 2 should not be married. It's mostly ceremonial these days, but we still honor it, ready preparing to continue with the ceremony. If anyone objects to this union, speak now or forever hold your peace. 3 seconds of silence. Then the doors explode open. We've already seen what happens next. The woman in red, the photographs scattered across white carpet, the marriage certificate held high like an accusation, the revelation of abandonment, of a child, of a secret life lived while the pastor built his empire. Security drags her away, but the damage is done. The sanctuary is in chaos. Some guests are trying to leave. Others are pressing forward, trying to see, to understand, to capture this moment on their phones for posterity. The bride turns to her groom. Her eyes are red with tears, mascara running down her cheeks. Her voice is barely a whisper, but the microphone system carries it to every corner of the church. Tell me she's lying. Please, tell me this is all some horrible mistake. The pastor opens his mouth. What comes out isn't denial. It's silence. Damning, confirming silence. Tell me! She's screaming now, all composure gone. His voice cracks. I can't. The sanctuary goes deathly quiet. In that moment, you could hear a pin drop from the rafters. It's true? Her father's voice, hoarse with rage and betrayal. You're already married? You have a child? It was a long time ago.
Before I came here, before I met your daughter, I thought..." The pastor stops. What did he think? That it would just go away? That the past wouldn't matter? "You thought you could just pretend we didn't exist?" The woman in red has broken free from security again. She's back in the sanctuary, tears streaming down her face. "I loved you. I believed you. I raised your son alone for 4 years while you lived like a king." The bride pulls off her veil with trembling hands. The fabric tears. She yanks the engagement ring from her finger and throws it at the pastor. It hits his chest and falls, bouncing on the marble floor with a sound like a bell tolling. "You monster!" Her hand connects with his face. The slap echoes through the sound system, through the live broadcast, through every screen where people are watching this catastrophe unfold in real time. The bride's father lunges forward. It takes 3 groomsmen to hold him back. His face is purple, veins standing out on his neck. "I'll destroy you. I'll destroy you." Church elders are climbing over pews, trying to get to the altar. The pastor's parents sit frozen in shock. His mother is weeping openly. His father's face shows something worse than anger. Disappointment. The realization that his son is not the man he thought he was. The bride collapses. Her bridesmaids catch her, lowering her carefully to the steps. She's sobbing so hard she can't breathe, gasping for air between wails of anguish. The perfect day, the perfect future, all of it disintegrating like ash. The pastor looks around at the ruins of his life, his bride destroyed, his reputation shattered, his church in chaos. Everything he built, everything he sacrificed for, crumbling in the span of minutes. He turns, tries to leave through the side door. Maybe he can escape. Maybe he can salvage something from this disaster. But someone is blocking his path. The fatal confrontation. The bride's younger brother stands in the doorway. 24 years old, protective of his sister his entire life. He heard her crying, saw her collapse, watched a man he trusted, a man he looked up to, reveal himself as a fraud and a liar. And in his hand, pulled from an ankle holster hidden beneath his tuxedo pants, is a gun. "You made a fool of my sister." His voice is eerily calm, too calm, the kind of calm that comes before violence. "You made a fool of my entire family, in front of everyone, on television, for the whole world to see." "Put the gun down." The pastor's hands are raised. "Please, let's talk about this." "Talk." The brother laughs, but there's no humor in it. "You're good at talking. Lying is just talking, right? You've been lying this whole time." The woman in red sees what's happening. "No, this isn't the answer." But the brother isn't listening. His finger moves to the trigger. "Everyone, get down!" Chaos erupts, screaming, people diving under pews, crawling toward exits. The television cameras are still rolling, broadcasting this nightmare to thousands of viewers. Parents covering their children's eyes. Elderly members too slow to move, frozen in terror. The best man moves forward, hands raised, voice steady despite his fear. "Think about what you're doing. Think about your family. Your sister needs you. Don't throw your life away because of him. He deserves it. He deserves worse than this." "Maybe. But your sister doesn't deserve to lose her brother too, not today." For a moment, it seems like reason might prevail. The brother's hand wavers slightly, the gun lowering by inches. Then the pastor does the worst thing he could possibly do. He tries to run. The sudden movement startles everyone. The brother's finger tightens on the trigger reflexively. The best man sees it happening, sees the trajectory, sees where the bullet will go. He launches himself forward. The gunshot is impossibly loud in the enclosed space. For a moment, everything freezes. Time stops. Everyone holds their breath. Then the best man stumbles backward. His white shirt blooms red. He looks down at his chest, surprise written across his face. His knees buckle. The pastor catches him as he falls. They collapse together onto the marble floor, the best man's blood spreading across white stone like spilled wine. "No, no, no, no!" The pastor presses his hands against the wound, trying to stop the bleeding.
"Somebody call 911! Help him!" The bride's brother drops the gun like it's burned him. He stares at his hands, at what they've done. I didn't mean. The woman in red is screaming. Guests are screaming. Someone is performing CPR. Multiple people are on phones with emergency services. The best man's eyes find the pastor's face. Blood bubbles at his lips when he tries to speak. Tell the truth. You're going to be okay. Stay with me. You're going to be fine. But they both know that's a lie. Just one more lie in a day built on lies. The best man's eyes go distant. His hand, which had been clutching the pastor's sleeve, goes limp. The rise and fall of his chest stops. Sirens wail outside. Police burst through the doors, weapons drawn. They find a sanctuary transformed into a crime scene, a wedding that has become a wake. And at the center of it all, a pastor kneeling in his white tuxedo, now stained with blood, holding the body of the only person who tried to protect him, the only real friend he had, the man who died because of his lies.
The paramedics arrive within 4 minutes. It's not fast enough. They try anyway, going through the motions, because that's what they're trained to do. Chest compressions, defibrillator, medications pushed through IV lines, but the best man is already gone, and everyone knows it. They load him onto a stretcher anyway, cover him with a sheet. The pastor tries to follow, but police hold him back. This is a crime scene now. Everyone is a witness. Some are suspects. The bride's brother sits on the front pew, hands cuffed behind his back, staring at nothing. He's in shock, the reality of what he's done not quite registering yet. He killed a man, took a life, in a church, on what was supposed to be his sister's wedding day. The bride is in an ambulance, being treated for shock and hyperventilation. Her mother is with her, stroking her hair, whispering reassurances that sound hollow even to her own ears. Her father has given a statement to police, his voice mechanical, his political training kicking in, even in crisis. The woman in red sits on the church steps, crying. She never wanted this. She wanted acknowledgement, maybe justice, but not this, never this. Her marriage certificate lies somewhere inside, scattered among the chaos, physical proof of a union that destroyed so many lives. The guests disperse slowly, giving statements to police, sharing contact information, uploading videos and photos that will be evidence in the trials to come. Everyone has an opinion. Everyone has a theory. The speculation begins immediately. News vans arrive, reporters set up on the sidewalk, broadcasting live. We're here at St. Michael's Cathedral, where a wedding ceremony has ended in tragedy. One man is dead, another in custody, and the pastor at the centre of it all, the man who was supposed to be getting married, is being questioned by police about allegations of bigamy and fraud. The story goes viral within an hour. Video clips from the live broadcast spread across social media. Commentary, analysis, condemnation. The pastor's name becomes a hashtag, a punchline, a cautionary tale. By evening, his carefully constructed empire is in free fall. The legal consequences come swiftly. The bride's brother is charged with manslaughter. His lawyer argues it was an accident, a momentary lapse in judgment during extreme emotional distress. The prosecutor argues it was a deliberate act of violence in a sacred space. Either way, he's facing years in prison. His life, like so many others, destroyed by this day. The pastor faces his own charges: bigamy, a felony in this state; fraud, taken money from the church under false pretenses; perjury, lying on various official documents over the years; child abandonment. The district attorney compiles a list of potential charges that runs to 3 pages. The bride's board meets in emergency session. The vote for immediate removal is unanimous. They release a statement expressing shock and betrayal, apologising to the congregation and the community. Donations are already plummeting. Staff members are updating their resumes. The empire is crumbling. The bride's family demands the return of every penny they donated to the church over the years. Their lawyers file papers within 48 hours. Other major donors follow suit. The church's finances, which seemed so solid just days ago, are suddenly in crisis. The woman in red files for full custody and back child support. A judge grants both immediately. The pastor's assets are frozen pending investigation. Bank accounts, the house, the car, everything he accumulated through his lies is being seized. The media circus intensifies. Every news outlet wants the story. Investigative journalists dig into his past, finding more lies, more inconsistencies. Former congregants come forward with stories of how it helped them through difficult times, making the betrayal feel even more personal. His book is pulled from shelves, his television show is cancelled, speaking engagements are terminated. The carefully built brand of the Prince of the Pulpit becomes a symbol of hypocrisy and deception. 6 months later, he stands before a judge for sentencing. He's lost weight, the expensive suits are gone, replaced by a grey prison jumpsuit. His lawyer has negotiated a plea deal, 3 years for bigamy and fraud. Could have been worse, could have been better. The judge addresses him directly. You held a position of trust. People looked to you for moral guidance. Instead, you lied, cheated, and abandoned your family for personal gain. You created a web of deception that ultimately cost a man his life. I hope you use your time in prison to reflect on the harm you've caused. He's led away in handcuffs. No one from his former congregation comes to support him. His parents attend, sitting in the back, trying to be invisible. They love their son, but they don't know him. Maybe they never did.
Final resolution. 6 months after the wedding that never was. The former pastor is in minimum security prison, serving his sentence. He spends his days in the library, reading theology books, trying to figure out where he went wrong, or maybe trying to justify what he did. It's hard to tell anymore. The woman in red, his legal wife, now in the process of divorce, has moved to a better neighborhood. The court-ordered child support and settlement money have given her and their son a new start. She works at a nonprofit now, helping single mothers navigate the legal system. She understands their struggles more than most. Their son is in a good school. He's doing well. He doesn't ask about his father anymore. Maybe someday they'll have that conversation, but for now she's protecting him from the worst of it. Let him be a child a little longer. The former bride has recovered, though recovered isn't quite the right word. She's in therapy twice a week, working through the trauma and betrayal. She's written a book about her experience, though it won't be published for another year. Unmasking the Altar, My Marriage to a Lie. Publishers are in a bidding war for it. She's not interested in dating, may never be interested in dating again. Trust is something she'll have to rebuild from the ground up. The church has found new leadership, a female pastor with 20 years of experience, known for her integrity and transparency. Attendance dropped initially, but has been slowly recovering. The congregation is different now, more skeptical, more careful, but maybe more authentic because of it. They've established a scholarship fund in the best man's name. Every year it sends a student to seminary school. The hope is that it will train a new generation of ministers who understand that character matters more than charisma. The best man's widow speaks at the first scholarship ceremony. She's graceful, despite her loss. My husband believed in second chances, she says. He believed people could change, could be better. His faith in that belief cost him his life, but I can't be angry at him for it. That's who he was. I just hope that somehow some good can come from this tragedy. On a Saturday afternoon, the former wife takes her son to the park. It's a beautiful day, the kind of day that makes you believe in fresh starts, in new beginnings. They're on the swings when he asks, "Mom, are we going to be okay?" She looks at her son, this beautiful, resilient child who deserves so much better than the father he got. She thinks about the years of struggle, of abandonment, of wondering if they'd ever catch a break.
She thinks about the wedding day that brought everything into the light at such a terrible cost. "Yeah, baby," she says, pushing him gently on the swing. "We're going to be okay." And maybe for the first time in years, she actually believes it. The sun shines down on them. The swing moves higher. The boy laughs. Life goes on. Wounds heal. Justice, imperfect and messy as it is, has been served. A promise was broken, a life was lost, and the truth, which refused to stay hidden, came out in the most devastating way possible. Sometimes the price of lies is paid by everyone: the liar, the faithful, the innocent bystanders caught in the blast radius of deception. But sometimes, from the ashes of destroyed lives, something new can grow. Something honest, something real.
If you want to uncover more chilling true crime stories and see justice exposed, subscribe to Crime Vaults as we bring light to the darkest true crime cases and never miss the secrets hidden in plain sight.